Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Yasodanandana Prajajanarandana Yasodanandana Prajajanarandana Munatera Vanachari Yamunatera Vanachari Such as Shimad, His Divine Grace, Abhaya Chalana Bhaktivedanta Goswami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti, Vaishnava Vrind Ki Jai, Namacharya, Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Granth Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Sivasili Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Sri Sri Radhakrishna Gopinath Sai Mukunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavanam Ki Jai, Mathuradam Ki Jai, Jagadadasami Ki Jai, Burmai Ki Jai, Shrimati Lasadevi Gajaya Samveda Bhakta Vrinda Gajaya Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Gaur. All glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is to Shri Guru and Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale. Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste. Saraswati Devi Gauravani Charni Nivasesha Shunyavadi Paschachate Shatarni. So we are reading from the 10th canto, 44th chapter, text 34 of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Evam Vikatamane Vai Kongse Prakupito Vyaya Lagim Not Pacha Tadasa Mancham Utungam Aruhat Evam Vikatamane Vai Kamse Prakupito Vya Lagi Vinot Pachatadasa Mancham Utungam Aruhat Evam Vikatamane Vai Kamse Prakupito Vya Lagim no Pachatadasa Mancham Utungam Aruhat Evam Vikatamane Vai Kamse Prakupito Veha Lagim Not Pachatadasa Mancham Utungam Aruhat. Okay. Anyone else? No.
Evam Vikatamane Vai Kamse Prakupito Vaya Padya Tarasa Mancham Utungam Aruhat.
Okay, lady.
Evam Vikatamane Vai Kamse Prakupito Vaya Padya Tarasa Mancham Utungam Aruhat.
Ladies? Okay. Evam.
Evam.
Thus.
Thus.
Vikatamane.
Tamane.
Exclaiming with audacity. So for those of you who don't know what audacity means, it's like with a lot of pride and just anger. That's what audacity means. You have the audacity, In other words, false pride. So vai, indeed. Kangse, kangsa. Prakopita, becoming extremely angry. Avyaya, the infallible Lord. Laghimda, with ease. Utpacha, jumping up. Tarasa, swiftly. Mancham, the royal platform. Utungam, tall. Aruhat, climbed onto. Translation: as Kamsa thus raved so audaciously, the infallible Lord, Krishna, intensely angry, quickly and easily jumped up onto the high royal dais. So there's no purport to this text by by the Acharyas there's purports, but by any of the ISKCON devotees. So Om Gana Timiranda Shah Gananjana Shlakaya Chakshu Unmiritam Yena, it says my Shigurveda Maha. But I wanted to say something about this. So basically we find that Krishna at this point is very angry. So one may ask, why is Krishna very angry? And the answer is quite simple. Not that he just is angry at Kamsa, because Kamsa is Kamsa. He's angry because Kamsa has just threatened his dear devotees. So Kamsa has just made Vaishnava Aparada. So what does this mean? That means when there is an offense against Krishna's devotees, Krishna gets angrier than as if you had committed an offense against him. And you see this in many of Krishna's pastimes. I'd like to quote some pastimes from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Actually, there's quotes here. Several different pastimes. One is the pastime of a devotee or a person named Gopal Chapala. So Gopal Chapala was actually a devotee, and he wanted to see the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Srivas Angam. Now in the Srivas Angam, that means the place of Lord the place of Srivas Thakur. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would have his daily or nightly kirtans, and they wouldn't allow anyone in who wasn't a pure devotee. Even if you were a devotee, you weren't allowed in. You have to be an absolutely pure devotee. So, therefore, they just locked everybody out. And so there's this one person, Gopal Chapla, who was very, very upset at being locked out. So he thought, I am going to create problems for Srivas Thakur. So what he did is he put the ingredients for worshipping Durga, which for a Vaishnava, if a Vaishnava is seen worshipping Durga, that's considered to indicate he doesn't have faith in Krishna. Because we know when you water the root of the tree, all the leaves get watered. So when you serve Krishna, all the demigods automatically get served. And if they don't like it, Krishna will protect you from their anger. Although here, sometimes in Fiji, we find that a devotee joins the Hare Krishna movement and he doesn't worship the demigods anymore. And he gets a little sick and the parents blame that on now worshiping the demigods. It's not true. we could blame our sickness on so many different things, on the demigods, on this and that. But, there's probably just a simple reason, like a virus. Which Krishna sent to teach us a lesson. So anyway, so he was very envious, and he put all these ingredients for worshiping Durga, like vermilion and everything like that, outside the house. And so when Srivas Thakur saw it in the morning, he just didn't pay any attention. He just thought, well, whatever, if people think I'm worshiping Durga, let them think whatever they want to think. Because a Vaishnava is very humble. A Vaishnava is not concerned generally about his reputation, unless it comes to preaching. When he's preaching, he's concerned with the reputation. But as far as himself, he doesn't care. Just like Rishabhadev, Lord Rishabhadev, when he renounced everything, he just walked around naked and looked like a crazy person, so nobody would bother him. The same thing with Jada Bharata. The Jada Bharata, in order to avoid getting entangled in this world, he actually just acted like a stupid person. So, anyway, so Srivas Thakur wasn't concerned. But this person had committed such offenses that he got leprosy. In those days, leprosy was very prominent. Nowadays, it's more or less finished. Used to be in Fiji, there were leprosy colonies here, but not anymore. So this particular individual got leprosy, and then he went to Lord Chaitanya, and he said to Lord Chaitanya, "You are the most munificent. Please save me, bless me." And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even though he is Namo Mahavanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate, Krishnaya Krishna, Chaitanya Namne Gaurase Maha, the most munificent personality, what did he do? He cursed him. He said, "I am not blessing you, I curse you to be bitten," because in leprosy there's worms all in your body and all the sores. "I curse you to be bitten by these same worms for many millions of births." Wow. Even though he approached Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, and he was humble, and he was touching Lord Chaitanya's feet, he got cursed because he had offended a devotee. Of course, later on, there's this interesting place near Mayapur called Kulia Gram. And Kulia Gram is the place in the Navadvip area where offenses are forgiven. So later on, he was able to get his offenses forgiven when he approached Srivas Thakur and begged for forgiveness. So that's the methodology. So that shows the heaviness of offending a Vaishnava. And of course, then in Bhagavatam, we have this heavy story of Durvasa. Now try to understand who Durvasa is. Durvasa is an expansion of Lord Shiva. He's not like you and me. It's not that, one day I can become Durvasa. Because maybe you are Durvasa in the sense that you got a bad mood. Because the word Durvasa means someone with bad temper. I've come across a lot of people here in Fiji with bad tempers. So anyway, we can give them the name Durvasa. Durvasa. Anyway, so Durvasa, he's not an ordinary person. He's an expansion of Lord Shiva. Right? I mean, God is one of the manifestation of one of the three guna avatars. Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. And Atreya Muni, his son of Atreya Muni. Anyway, so, wow, what a position. And you find Durvasa has listed so many stories in Krishna consciousness. But in any case, he goes, in the Bhagavatam it describes, that he goes to visit Maharaj Ambarish. And Maharaj Ambarish has just finished this big vrata, this big fast, not only for one day. Normally we have trouble fasting for one day, but it was over 40-something days he was fasting. And he was getting ready to break it. And according to Vedic rituals, you have to break the fast at a certain time, just like we have in ISKCON, it's calculated. Like the Ekadasi Parana, after the Ekadasi. You have like 6:45 in the morning, whatever time it is, it's calculated, and you have to do it. Sometimes you only got 1 minute to do it. Prabhupada, actually, the interesting thing is that Prabhupada never really paid that much attention to that stuff. Prabhupada just said, it's the next day we can break Ekadasi. So, unfortunately, in this time we've become very sophisticated after Prabhupada left the planet. So, getting back to the story. So, Maharaj Ambarish was getting ready to break the fast. Durvasa Muni comes. And Durvasa Muni, he's a sage. So when a sage comes to your house, you're supposed to receive him. You're not supposed to just hi sage. Even if a sage comes to your house while you're doing deity worship, you're supposed to stop the deity worship. Of course, that doesn't give you an excuse to stop the deity worship generally if your friend comes in the temple. We've seen that happen sometimes. Someone's friend comes in the temple. Hey, how you doing, buddy? But a very exalted Vaishnava comes in. Then you at least ask them, what do you want? So Durvasa Muni, he said, we'll take some prasadam, but I'm going to go take my bath first. Because that's the process. You're supposed to, after you come from a trip, you're supposed to take a bath before eating like that. So Maharaj Ambarish was thinking while Durvasa Muni was gone, how am I going to break the fast at the right time? And there was an anxiety about this. And so therefore, he was advised by his advisors. You break the fast by drinking water, because it was a nirjal. You break the fast by drinking water, and that's breaking the fast and not breaking the fast simultaneously. And so he won't be offended. But they were wrong. Because when Durvasa Muni came back, he understood what Maharaj Ambarish had done. And he got very angry. And he got so angry, he thought, because he's violated Vaishnava etiquette, I'm a Vaishnava. Of course, it's a little prideful, isn't it? He pulled out his hair and created a demon to kill Maharaj Ambarish. Can you imagine? Just because someone violates Vaishnava etiquette, or, the etiquette of a guest, which he didn't do, then you want to kill the person? You got to be really careful around Durvasa Muni, isn't it? Really cautious. So anyway, even there's a story in the Mahabharata how Krishna had to serve Durvasa Muni. And of course the story of Kunti, how she served Durvasa Muni. And he was very pleased because he's Ashutosh. Ashutosh means like Lord Shiva, easily pleased and easily angered. So Durvasa Muni gets very angry at Maharaj Ambarish and he tries to kill him. So what happens is that the Sudarshan chakra disc kills the demon or whatever the entity was going to kill Maharaj Ambarish, and then it starts chasing after Durvasa Muni. And Durvasa Muni is being scorched. You got this chakra that's chasing after him, and he's just running or flying or wherever he's going, all over the universe. He goes to all the demigods, and all the demigods say, there's nothing we can do about it. And he even goes to Vishnu, who is Krishna, the same person. And he says, I can't do anything about it either. You've offended my devotee. So, the the Lord's anger is such, of course in this case it was manifested through the Sudarshan chakra. And so then what happens is the Sudarshan chakra keeps chasing him. And he finally goes back to Maharaj Ambarish, begs for forgiveness, and then the Sudarshan chakra is pacified. So that's another story. I mean, he got so many of these stories. And Chaitanya Charitamrita has more stories. There's a story when Haridas Thakur was in the assembly house of the Majumdras, that's Govardhan Haranya, who were the father and uncle of Raghunath Das Goswami. He was preaching about the holy name, and he was preaching about Nama Bas, which we've been talking about the last few days. Nama Bas chanting means accidental chanting, joking, you're saying the holy name, meaning something else, like the Muslims sometimes say, Haram, how bad? Haram, which is actually like Ram, Hari, Rama, Hari, Rama, Rama, Hari, Hari. So anyway, so Haridas Thakur was talking about it, and he was having a discussion with another Gopal Chakravarti, intelligent man. And Chakravarti means someone who is very, very bright, intelligent, a conqueror, who was able to conquer over the others. Chakravarti, conquering over others with argumentation. So he was having this whole discussion, and this Gopal Chakravarti disagreed. He said, if you are wrong, I'm going to cut your nose off. So he said that to Haridas, just a little statement like that, was a pretty heavy statement, cutting your nose off. And Haridas Thakur said, I'd cut my own nose off if I was wrong. This is the faith a devotee has in the holy name. Such faith in Krishna's name, isn't it? That, I know I'm right because this is what Shastra says, otherwise cut my own nose off. Anyway. So then what happened is this Gopal Chakravarti, his nose falls off. Because he gets leprosy. So you have all these stories about leprosy here. And so he gets this leprosy, and he begs for forgiveness. Eventually, he apologizes, of course, to Haridas Thakur. He's forgiven, of course, the same thing in Kuligram. So you see what happens when you offend Krishna's devotee. And one final story. From Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's the story of the Devananda Pandit. Devananda Pandit was giving Bhagavatam class like this, and he was speaking from Bhagavatam. And when he was speaking one time, Srivas Thakur happened to enter into the Bhagavatam class, and Srivas Thakur was so much absorbed in ecstasy, hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, he started to roll on the ground and cry. And what happened is that Devananda Pandit's disciples threw Srivas Thakur out of the temple or out of wherever they were reciting the Bhagavatam. And they treated him very badly. So therefore, Devananda Pandit lost his ability to understand Bhagavatam. And what happened is that when he was giving Bhagavatam class in the future, after that point, Lord Chaitanya walked by, and Lord Chaitanya yelled in the middle of the Bhagavatam class that you will never understand the Bhagavatam. Can you imagine? Let's say if I was giving class and then someone comes in the door there and says, you will never understand the Bhagavatam. Oh my God. I mean, I'd be shocked. We'd all be shocked. So Lord Chaitanya did that. And so he suffered like that. That's also suffering. Also suffering to lose one's ability to understand Krishna consciousness because one has committed an offense against the devotee. And then what happens? Then he served a Vaishnava, and he served this one Vaishnava, Rakeshwara Pandit. Rakeshwara Pandit is one of the greatest dancers in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. Lord Chaitanya would say that if he had two devotees like Prakeshwara Pandit, who was like a wing, he could fly in the air if he had two wings like that. So Prakeshwara Pandit used to get into these 72 hours of dancing, and he would dance, and there'd be a whole group of people in a circle, like surrounding him, just watching him dance in ecstasy. And so one time, Devananda Pandit went there, because he was an older gentleman, he had a cane, and he protected Rakeshwar Pandit because some of the crowd was pushing in a little bit too much. He pushed the crowd back. And by doing that, he got the mercy to be able to approach later on and beg forgiveness from Srivas Thakur, and then he became a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So you have all these different stories of Krishna's anger when a devotee is offended. Of course, in this particular case, we find that the devotees are not only being offended, like Vasudeva and Ugrasena only being offended, their lives are being threatened by Kamsa. Kamsa say, we're going to tie Vasudeva up, we're going to kill Ugrasena, and all these things like that. And so Krishna can't tolerate it. So what does that mean for us? Of course, we're not threatening, hopefully, to kill any Vaishnavas. But that means we have to be very, very careful in dealing not only with the deities, that's Kanishta-adhikari, and not only with the spiritual master, that's another type of Kanishta-adhikari, but we have to be very, very careful in dealing with all the Vaishnavas. Even Vaishnavas that are not so advanced, even Vaishnavas who are not chanting 16 rounds yet. Because according to Rupa Goswami, that even if one chants Hare Krishna once, we offer respects in the mind. Even once. If they go, Hare Krishna, oh, you're wonderful, isn't it? Look, I guess we shot them. They're running away. No, they probably have to get to work and school. I know that. So, even one time, can you imagine how powerful the holy name is? One time, they're Vaishnava. I mean, of course, they may be Kanishta, Adhikari, not so advanced, obviously. And so we offer respects in the mind. So we shouldn't even disrespect, criticizing someone who has just chanted Hare Krishna once. Can you imagine that? And how often do we do that? How often do we don't offer respects in our mind, we don't offer respects externally. And so, of course, if one is chanting seriously, following the rules and regulations, then, of course, we make friendship with someone if they're on an equal level. And if someone is very serious and is so Krishna conscious, actually one of the signs of a very serious advanced devotee is that when we see such an advanced devotee, we chant. Naturally we chant. And that we say with Prabhupada, whenever you would see Prabhupada, it would just go, automatically the Maha Mantra would go on and the heart would go on and the mind would go on and the voice. So we have to be very careful dealing with all sorts of devotees. And not only all sorts of devotees, but with all sorts of entities. Because we're not even supposed to offend an ordinary living entity. Of course, if an entity attacks us, like if there's a mosquito, then we can. Like Prabhupada one time was under in his bed, and he was in a mosquito net was around him, because in Mayapur there's many mosquitoes. And there was a mosquito flying inside. And Prabhupada's servant said, should I kill him? And Prabhupada said, no. He hasn't attacked. But when he attacked, kill him. So the same way, Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sarahare. So anyway, so these are some of the points we can glean or understand from today's class, how dear the devotees are to Krishna, and how, on the other hand, how if we serve them, then we get Krishna consciousness very easily. That's the secret of getting or becoming Krishna conscious, because Krishna does not give us prema. Devotees give us prema, because devotee prema belongs to the devotees. Krishna say tomorrow. Krishna dite par. All right, so any questions or comments? Questions, comments? Yes, Chuta.
Like one is not aware that somebody is offending you, maybe you don't know it, but not directly but indirectly, you still get the effect of
Someone's offending me. I don't have to be aware.
indirectly.
I don't have to be aware if someone's offending me. I have to be aware if I'm offending someone else. One has to be very careful. I mean, like there's that whole story about Rupa Goswami, where Rupa Goswami was in meditation, and some man who had some defect, he looked a little funny, came up to get instruction from Rupa Goswami, and Rupa Goswami, in his meditation, was laughing to see some pastime of Radha and Krishna. You probably heard this story before. And then the man thought Rupa Goswami is laughing at me, because he looked a little funny. So then Rupa Goswami's meditation broke, and then later on he understood because this man had taken offense, even though he had made a mistake. So he begged forgiveness from the man, he explained it, they both embraced each other, and both chanted Hare Krishna. So anyway, we have to be really careful dealing with devotees. It doesn't matter if someone's a sannyasi or new devotee or lady or man, they're Vaishnavas or Vaishnavis. So we don't know who we're dealing with. Really important. So, anyway, I guess everyone's starting to run away now. So, I guess that's it. And today is our last day here in Lotoka. Tomorrow we're going to be leaving for Sydney. So thank you very much. All glories to His Divine Grace. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.